Welcome, everybody, to the Three Gun Show. I'm your host, Dave Hartman. With me today is two very special people for episode 302, where we're talking about Open Division, the mass migration to Open Division. And what we have today is our buddy Forest in studio. Forest, how you doing?
Doing great. Great to be here.
Good to have you.
Yeah. Hello, world. It's been a minute.
Welcome back. And then, of course, we got our buddy Scott Greene coming back. It's been too long, Scott.
Hey, Dave and Forrest and everybody else. Yeah, it's been a minute. Just happy to have the Three Gun Show back on a regular basis and just enjoying it.
Thanks, buddy. It's good to be back. Since I know that you're an avid Three Gun Show listener, Scott, and it's been a while since we talked, do you have any axes to grind with me that you'd like to get out of the way now?
No, I'm intentionally leaving those axes unground until I listen to the I haven't listened to the yet. I'm waiting until after this till I listen to those so I don't yell at you the whole time.
Is that so? You haven't even listened to the new division rules? They're the suggested rules.
I have not. I'm not going to until after this.
Nice.
And then after this, I'm going to listen to it tomorrow and then probably scream at you in all caps through text all day tomorrow.
Yeah. That's the great thing about Scott is that no matter how upset with you he is, he will not call you. So you only get text. Mm-hmm. It's only a text repercussions. But yeah, I got a lot of phone calls after that one. So it'll be interesting to hear your perspective as well.
I don't know. I think Scott will like them. You know, it's a little bit more separation and makes open full open. Like,
I think so too. Scott's a reasonable person. Well, I don't know. Are you Scott? You seem pretty reasonable.
I like to think so, but again, I'm shooting open, so I don't care what anybody else does.
Well, and you don't seem to hold on to dogma. Like, you're willing to try new things and go forward, right? Like, you wanted to shoot World Shoot, and you're like, oh, I got to shoot open? Okay, I guess I'll shoot open.
I'll shoot whatever. As long as whoever I'm shooting against is shooting the same thing, then I don't care.
There you go. Well, I got a message today from someone on Instagram. Let me see if I can find it here. Let's see. Oh, okay. This is from Philip Buys, and he says, episode 300, did you say Tac Ops can have 13 rounds to start? 12 round 2 plus 1, and then immediately followed by, WTF, red dots are official for Tac Ops? I was like, bro, did you even listen to the show? Those are suggestions.
He got the Cliff Notes version.
Yeah, exactly. Like he must have been listening on 2X, but we love him anyway. Thanks for listening, bud.
These are the new rules. I'm so happy.
I know, he was pumped. Yeah, he's I know that guy. He's shown pictures of a double stack Atlas with a red dot on it, so I know he'd be totally stoked for that one.
Yeah, that's gonna be good.
A little teaser for you, Scott.
Yeah, hopefully we can make some of that happen. I think it's a good way to go.
Should be interesting. We'll see though. But we're here to talk about Open, and Forrest. Let's see. It's been a while since you've been on the podcast here. I think Christmas was the last one, or were you on after that one?
I think that was
New Year's. Was that a New Year's podcast? No, it was Christmas because we were drinking dog.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't recall the last one I was on, literally.
That's how much fun we had, Scott.
It was bad. I have never listened to that episode, and I don't intend to.
It's good. There's a few missing minutes of it that actually made it turn out okay. So, Forrest, what have you been up to in the meantime here?
I think like everybody, you know, it's trying to find my place in the shooting world, get going, shooting as much as possible, finding ammo, and then do the day-to-day work and do home stuff.
It's been kind of a weird start to the season, I think.
It has, yeah. And it's one of those things where it ramped up really slow, and now it kind of had this peak in the middle. And I feel like it's kind of slowing down again already, where I'm not ready for it to slow down now. I want to find some more matches and go shoot. And especially now playing with some new open toys, I need to get out and go play with some of these things.
Yeah, people always give me a hard time for saying that 3Gun has an off season, but here in Colorado, or I guess we're in Wyoming now. In Wyoming, Colorado, there definitely is because people are hunting, right? That's hunting season. And Scott, to catch you up on a conversation we had earlier today, we were looking for a club match to hit this weekend, and there's almost nothing going on for the next several weeks here in Wyoming and even down in Colorado where we normally shoot.
Yeah, I mean, it's rough out there. It is what it is, but especially for me locally, 3Gun is kind of a rarity. I get one local a month within an hour drive of me. And if I want to go elsewhere, I got to drive 3+ hours to get to another 3-gun match. So I tend to lean on pistol stuff, and I'll shoot other divisions and that to get ready for 3-gun stuff. But it's not the same. I'd like to shoot more 3-gun, but you got to deal with what you got.
Yeah, and I guess I should clarify that we were actually looking even for USPSA matches to go shoot, limb minor, or you were going to shoot open forest, and then I think I was going to see if I could borrow Forest PCC and mess around there and see what's going on. So I think, but because of the nature of the beast of where we are in the Rocky Mountains, it's hunting season.
Yeah, I mean, you can drive 12 hours to come see me if you want, but you got to deal with all the wildfire smoke.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, it's a smoky one here in Cheyenne too. We're getting whatever you're getting. We're getting the remnants of it.
Yeah, we definitely have a lot here. It looked like fog on the way home yesterday.
Oh, are you familiar with the AQI index, the air quality index?
Yep.
So in Reno last week, it was over 500.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Which is, the scale maxes out at 500.
Is that why your walls are yellow?
No, it's going away finally. We're finally doing it next weekend or the following weekend. We're getting the office done finally. 4 years later, can't wait.
You should just go with my plan that I do in my house. I find like 50 colors and paint little patches all over the wall to find out which one I like. And by the time you paint all the patches, it's like a plaid wall and you're good to go.
I call it suburban camo.
Yeah, we'll be doing that. We bought the house, and this was like a 10-year-old daughter's bedroom when we bought it, so we just haven't changed it yet. But it's unbearable. If I open the window right behind the monitors here, or behind the microphone, the whole room lights up like Big Bird. It's terrible.
Oh, that sounds amazing.
It's bad.
You should put like a little projector thing on the window, or like a little stain thing, so when you open it up, it just projects Big Bird on the wall behind you.
No, that's all going away next week, and I can't wait.
That way you have a little reminiscent of it. Yeah. Can never leave you.
So Scott, you've shot a couple matches this year that we didn't make. One was Max's 2-gun match. I don't know what the real name of it is, and then the other one is the shotgun qualifier for USPSA, which is the 2-gun match, right? The pistol PCC match.
I guess it's the only multi-gun USPSA has. Yeah, it was PCC pistol. Yeah, so it was. Max's match was called the Cobalt Kinetics Practical 2-Gun Championship.
There you go.
And the 2-gun match was just 2-Gun Nationals. But yeah, shot both of those. Max did an outstanding job. For a first-time match, he had a big pull. He got a lot of the guys from the tactical community out there as well. So it wasn't just the normal multi-gunners and USPSA guys you see. You saw a bunch of other guys who were, weekend training guys who come out, and they were out there with jeans and buttoned-up collared shirts shooting the match. It was cool to see.
That's awesome. Usually we can't get those people come out when we do like a 2-gun division.
Yeah, sounds like an 8K match.
Yeah.
Yeah, it had that kind of vibe to it. Yeah, it was cool. A lot of different people. There were still the big main sponsors, and a lot of the main guys were still there. Farewell was there, and a bunch of other guys. But it was a good match. He brought a lot of props out to shoot with, and well built stages, well designed stages, and I look forward to him doing it next year as well as his match in December he has this year too.
Yeah, I'm actually thinking about making it out for the December match.
Yeah, after seeing the stages for us, now we're like, maybe we need to make a drive in December. Check that one out.
Yeah, everybody I've talked to said the match was outstanding.
Yeah.
I haven't heard anything negative about it so far.
The wind was the only bad thing.
Whatever.
Well, yeah. We live in Cheyenne.
You say that. Well, for the first time since 2020 started, the mask was useful. Anyway.
Well, that's cool. Yeah. So the 2-gun format is pretty interesting, and we've seen that trying to be implemented at 3-gun matches, and it hasn't really caught on. So it's cool to see like an actual dedicated 2-gun match and it be successful.
Yeah, it was fun to see. The rule set was a little different than we're used to, such as I couldn't shoot my frame-mounted open gun in that match. But I hear he's changing the rule sets to allow that for the next one.
Just for you? They call it the green concession?
I did give him a lot of crap for it. Because I had to shoot an iron-sighted gun for the first time since 2017, so I was not happy about it.
What was that like?
I mean, it wasn't that bad. I mean, actually, I shouldn't say that first time since 2017. I shot some single stack here and there, so it wasn't that bad.
Gotcha. So what was 2-Gun Nationals like?
was my first time going to Alabama, so that was pretty cool. The range is phenomenal. That CMP Talladega Marksmanship Park.
I've heard that's pretty impressive.
Oh, it's great. Yeah, it's super awesome. Match was good. 11 stages, I believe. A lot of options between what you want to shoot and where. It was good. Some hard shots mixed in there with clays at I think the max was 35, 40 yards, maybe for a couple of them. So there were some challenges mixed in. And,
was it run like a multi-gun match where you ditch your pistol and pick up your PCC, or was it
100%?
Really?
100%. Yeah, just like a 3-gun match, yeah.
And it was 2 anywhere, wasn't it?
It was 2 anywhere or 1 alpha. It was 3-gun rules. Yeah, it was straight up regular 3-gun with a PCC and a pistol.
Yeah. See, I think matches like that have a place, like Max's 2-gun and matches like that, because, again, I think those matches in 3-gun just dilute the field too much.
Yeah.
But as standalones, 2-gun and PCC, as standalones, they're great.
Sure.
So,
for sure.
And I think they pull in a lot more people that way, too.
Yeah. So what was the field like at 2-Gun Nationals? Was there a lot of pistol shooters there, or just the normal PCC crowd?
I would say there was. Well, I'm not familiar with the entirety of the PCC crowd. I don't shoot it that much, but there was a handful of the common 3-gunners you see around. A couple of
common
shooters.
3-gunners. You know the best 3-gunners.
Not common. I mean, the guys you see traveling around quite a bit.
Yeah.
The guys you see traveling around the country,
common 3-gunners.
Yeah.
Oh.
Like a Labrador.
Yeah. Not a Scott Greene.
Oh.
Oh no. There was a hand okay. So Farewell was there, Keith Garcia was there, Max was there from the PCC World, obviously. Todd Jarrett was there, Shannon Smith was there, all these guys. It was a good mix of everybody was out there.
That's cool.
Man, freaking Todd Jarrett, that dude comes out of nowhere and just burns. That dude always lays it down.
Yeah, he's been around for a while, and he's got I don't even know how many national titles he's got with him. He's got a world title or 2, I think, mixed in there. So
yeah,
you can shoot.
He absolutely can.
Good stuff. All right. Well, so now we caught up. We know what Scott's been up to, wrecking lives in other divisions, and catching the occasional multi-gun match. Let's talk about our main topic here, which is Forrest. You're moving to open.
Okay.
You're real good at this.
Yeah. Well, it's the same thing. I'm sitting here with even with our discussion recently with Tac and all. They're like, man, I like Tac so much.
Oh, I know.
It's like
Tac's great, but
it's kind of a bittersweet thing. I love Tac, and I've always wanted to shoot Tac, but the reason I've always shot Tac, we've talked about several times. I always want to shoot in the Premier Division. I want to shoot where the heat is, and that's definitely shifting. So I think it's time to shift along with it and see what happens.
So Scott said earlier that you're jumping to limited, right, Scott, to get rid of all the competition?
No.
He's like, wait a second.
No, I've been waiting 4 years for you guys to get here.
Suckers. I baited you in. Now I'm out.
Yep. Later. Now Tac's open. No, I'm just kidding. So we're here to learn from Scott Greene because years ago we did Breaking Open episodes with Amax and with Scott, and we talked about them moving into to open division. And now that Scott's been shooting open for a few years, we feel that he's got some sage advice to part. So, Scott, I'm gonna let you start here, and then we'll jump into Forrest has a whole list of questions, but broad strokes, when you think of anyone that's moving from Tac Ops or from limited to open or wants to get into open 3-gun, what's some overall big picture advice that you give them?
That it's really not that different. I mean, yeah, you can go the route of have different guns and this and that, but you don't actually need to do that. If you want to test the waters, just get bigger mags for your guns, load your shotgun tube all the way up, and play with that and see if it, toots your horn. If not, then I
like that. That's very pragmatic.
Yeah. I've done that a few times before, shooting open division stuff, just, jumping in somewhere, just shoot bigger mags and load the shotgun up. Done pretty well.
Yeah.
So, but I think for me, the big draw of open, it's always been that big draw. It's like the guns just look so much fun. The box shotguns and open pistols just look so much fun. So.
It's just all trigger all the time.
100%. Yeah, the guns are fantastic, and that's part of the reason why I still stay in open. But you don't have to buy one out of the gate. You can find an open shooter locally. I guarantee in 3-gun, someone's going to loan you some gear. So find a local guy who's shooting open who has something you're interested in, and say, hey, can I, shoot some of my ammo through this and test it out? You mind if I share it with you at this local match? And you're probably going to find a guy who can give that to you, and then run it for a week or 2 weeks, 3 weeks at a match and see what happens.
That's the best way to do it, man. Forrest and I were talking. Actually, I think you, Aaron Hayes was the one that put this in my head. Is club matches? A lot of times people put a lot of weight on them, and I think club matches but can be used as like a testing ground. So if you do know the people in your local matches, maybe there is a guy shooting open, ask him. Especially if he's got the name of the pistol maker on his jersey, like he's almost obligated to let you shoot it,
Yeah, that's part of his job description.
Yeah, exactly.
Is. Yeah. Well, and
that's a great idea.
I mean, we've always talked about that before, people being held back by getting into 3-guns. I don't have, they don't have all the gear. It's like, well, don't buy the gear. Come use mine. Like,
yeah.
So many of us say that already.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the same thing with, like you say, with locals. I've always, well, not always, but for a very long time now, treated those as just, testing grounds and proving grounds in practice. So might as well do things like that.
Yeah, we did that a couple years ago at the Kalash Bash. It was, basically like me and Garrison were sharing a Galil, and then we had to find a loaner Galil for another guy, and then another guy borrowed a Galil, and then another guy borrowed an AK, and it was just like all of us weren't shooting our own guns, and we all went and had fun, and that's just like the culture in 3-gun is people are willing to help you do stuff.
Yeah, well, and same thing. It adds to the experience right there too.
Yeah,
the whole thing of just kind of bartering and asking for guns to shoot and all that. It's part of the experience.
It is.
So
definitely is. All right. Well, I like that. That's a great place to start from. But if you're Forrest and you like to screw with everything, I'm sure you get a lot of questions. So what do you got? What do you got, Forrest?
I think your opener was kind of my opener too. It was kind of just a general thing of somebody that's looking to transition over to open. What's that? That generalized advice or things you need to know.
Sounds like try before you buy is like a pretty good place to start.
Yeah, that seems pretty solid.
Yeah, a little test drive. Why not?
Yeah, I think that's a great way, especially too, because we all know the investment of going deep into open is a large one. So why not jump in and try some other gear out before you go?
Yeah, especially if you're committing, right, and you're going like full box gun, and you're not just throwing a dot on your tube gun and loading it full, or you're not modifying your current pistol. You're just going to go ahead and buy a whole new one. It starts to get a little pricey. Now the rifle is a little bit easier until you start talking about the kneeling bipods and standing bipods and tiptoe bipod and all the bags and stuff. Scott's nodding his head over here.
Yeah, you don't have to have all those things. And I honestly, so when I first went open, I put a red dot on the 45, obviously, as probably anyone should, but you don't actually need that. And then I had a regular, small bipod that I used to check zero with in the first place, so I just used that. And I didn't have a bag up until last year. Last year I got my first bag. Didn't ever need it until then, and I didn't even need a kneeling bipod until the Rifle World Shoot, where I thought it might be helpful. So you don't have to have all the fancy bells and whistles to run. You can still shoot well without those things.
Yeah, that's actually what I was going to ask you about too, is it didn't seem like you started playing with the kneeling and, all the weird bipods until World Shoot stuff. So, it seems like there could definitely be some scenarios where those are beneficial, but did those actually translate over to 3-gun, enough to make them worthwhile?
I would say... So if you want to have the most complete advantage you possibly can, then sure. Then, yeah, they're going to have scenarios where they're going to be beneficial. But generally, I would say no. It's not necessarily worth it for 3-gun unless you want to be that guy who has a tool for every job.
Yeah, it's such a low percentage of use in 3-gun that it probably shouldn't be high on a list.
I've seen a lot of guys screw up tools on the clock, too.
Absolutely. I think
especially if you're not experienced with them.
Yeah, I think people try to mess with too much stuff and open on the clock. It's the same thing, it's so common to see, but again, I don't, being a tac shooter, I don't get it anyway, but the guys hanging the bags off and shooting whole stages with bags hanging off and then get in position and putting it under their elbow and under their knee and everything else. It's like, you probably could have taken 5 makeup shots at whatever you were doing in the time it took you to get that bag set up and roll your sleeping bag out and, like blow up your air mattress and everything.
Yeah, well, that's a whole nother different skill set you have to have as well. I mean, the guys who just buy it and use it aren't going to get the benefit out of having it, but the guys who have it and have trained with it, then yeah, you're going to have some benefit from it.
That's a really good point. One of the things I learned at the NRL Hunter match, and I'm glad that I had like a squad of really nice people that were willing to help me through it. And Brian Whalen actually told me halfway through, I was like, well, I was like, so what do you think? This one, you have to get into several positions. It doesn't look like you can see it prone. Are you just going to go from your tripod? And he goes, have you ever shot from your tripod? I was like, this isn't even my tripod. he says, I would not shoot from your tripod. He's like, it's much more difficult, which is not something I would have even guessed. Like, judging by what I've observed in just photographs of people shooting PRS or NRL Hunter, I would have assumed a lot of it was from the tripod. And maybe that's because they make for cool photos. So that's what you see a lot. And it's like the kneeling bipod makes for cool photos or cool videos or something like that. Maybe it's like a range trick. And so that was something I really learned is like, nah, just stick to the fundamentals and don't try to use the tools unless you really know how to, unless you have experience, you know how to do them. Obviously, I had no experience at all in any of the context there whatsoever, but.
Yeah, that's the whole point of this, though, too. Let's ask an expert.
Yeah.
It's like dial a friend here.
Exactly. I think that's a really good point, though, is, if you got all those tools, you need to use them and practice with them, right?
Yeah, well, that too, and I think you feel like if you invested the money into the tripod and the kneeling bipod and this and that, you're going to look for a reason to use it, whether you should or not, because you invested and you're like, I got to use this.
Yeah.
And I think more, too, even like when we get into talking like travel and all that, it's like, man, all right, let's throw 3 more bipods in our kit and try to travel with all that. Like, that's going to complicate things a bit. So,
yeah, no kidding about that. That's a mess.
That's one of those things. Like I've heard you talk about it a little bit before, but it's like that's one of the things we have to dive into a bit. Because man, even trying to travel with tack gear, it's like I can't imagine making weight on open stuff. But we'll get into that, I guess.
Whenever you're ready.
Yeah.
I mean, Forrest, feel free to just run with whatever you want. But I will point out that Amax, I watched him pack his bag one time, and he's like, "All this makes weight," and I thought, for a while, I'm like, "Well, that's interesting. Like heavy gear doesn't really weigh that much more," and I was perplexed by that, because like a dissonant shotgun is surely heavier than a tube shotgun, right? But then I realized like Amax shoots shorty everything, so he's lopping off 10 inches of barrel on every gun he has before he even gets started. So there you go, pro tip.
Yeah.
Short barrel rifles.
I'd actually be curious to weigh a tube gun and a dissident, because I think the dissident, I think the KL12 is only like 7 pounds, 7.5 pounds or something. It's not that heavy.
Tell me.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think my open shotgun's about 8.5 pounds, something like that, unloaded.
What does a tac tube gun weigh?
Probably 6.
Yeah. I mean, because
something like that.
Yeah, I'm trying to think, because I mean, they have just a little bit of weight difference, because we both shoot 1301s for a tac gun, so they're It's like, do you have a carbon tube on yours? I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it isn't the weight difference on the shotgun that's the problem. It's the magazines that's the problem.
Yeah. But when you add in all the caddies and all that stuff, so I was thinking about that. So you have your shotgun box mags, which are going to add weight, but if you take out all the caddies and all that stuff,
but they add volume too.
Yeah, the volume's the problem there. Yeah, because the weight's going to be. The shotgun mags are going to weigh significantly more than the caddies are, depending on what caddies you have, I guess. But the space they take up is it's hard to get back. It takes a lot of finessing. And I finally found a way after about my first full year open to figure out how to make weight, and then have everything I need plus an extra of everything, which is a pain in the ass. But
an extra of everything?
Yeah, so don't just bring one long mag for your shotgun, bring at least 2. Mm-hmm. Bring an extra bolt or an extra whatever it may be, an extra component that may or may not fail at some point. You're going to want those eventually. So I found a way to cut my weight down to 49.8 pounds per bag on Southwest. So each bag's like 50 pounds exactly. And then I have a carry-on luggage bag full of my clothes and a backpack full of more clothes and all the other crap I carry with me.
So both of your bags on Southwest are guns?
So one bag is guns. Half of another bag. Oh, I'm sorry. Half of a gun is in another bag. So I break down my pistols and I put the frames in with the long guns and I carry the slides in my other check bag.
Huh.
Because I'm that close on weight every time. Yeah. I got it down to a science now.
Oh, that's an interesting way of looking at that too, just to split those up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because you don't need to fill out another form for the other bag, so it makes it a lot easier.
Yeah. So in a hard case or whatever, you're putting your rifle, your shotgun, and then your pistol frames.
Yep.
And then
the other bag I have a hard case that's just padded on the inside that I have my slides in and stuff like that.
So you're bringing two pistols whenever you fly for 3-gun?
Yeah. Every match I go to, I bring at least 2 pistols, and then I'll bring extra rifle components and extra shotgun components, but still one of each of those guns.
So what kind of extra shotgun components should somebody bring or be looking at bringing?
Mostly it's just mags generally. You could bring, but the fitment on those is a little different. So you could bring an extra bolt carrier and an extra piston, but you don't have to worry about that kind of stuff. It's mostly just mags and then extra rifle components. I don't want to get too in. I don't want to make it seem like I'm bringing in extra shotgun components, that many of them. It's just a couple of things, mostly cleaning tools and stuff like that for the shotgun.
Okay. Yeah, when you said that, I was thinking, are you bringing extra bolt carriers and things like that? So.
Yeah, you could, but I haven't done that yet, and you don't really need to. But I have seen some guys snap the piston off of, not the piston itself,
the
but
op rod?
the op rod off of, the bolt carrier.
Gotcha. Man, that would ruin your day real quick.
Yeah, that's not a good way to go.
It's bad for business.
Yeah. So then you've got your hard case, you got your other check bag, and then you're carrying on 1 bag or 2 bags?
Backpack and a carry-on bag.
There you go.
But in my second check bag with pistol slides is my range bag, my shoes, and then I have a folded up soft case in that bag.
Oh, I like that. So so you can bring that to the range.
Yeah, 100%.
Nice.
Yeah. So the hard case never leaves the hotel room for me. Yeah. Once it's there, it stays there until I go on my next flight.
Mm-hmm. So you don't put so you don't put your soft bag inside the hard case with the guns?
No, I still got foam in mine.
Okay.
For a while, I did do the guns in the soft case inside of the hard case thing, but I just didn't exactly trust it that much after a while. I mean, I never had any problems, but then I got a lighter case than I had previously, and I could actually keep the foam in to make weight, so that made it easier.
Nice. Yeah, I've tried that before too with hard case, keeping the foam in and putting the soft case, and wasn't even remotely close.
Yeah,
so it's the same thing. I just throw my stuff in the soft case and throw it in the hard case. And I've never even thought about trying to fold up the soft case and put it in another bag. It's like all the 3-gun bags are so dang big.
Yeah, well, you got to avoid like the big giant voodoo 3-gun bag and all that stuff. So I have a standard 2 rifle case that I fold up and take to flight matches that I go to or matches that I fly to.
Have you thought about doing the other thing where guys are putting their other gear and clothes in the soft bag and just checking that?
I have carried on like a holster and belt setup before, but the amount of weird situations you get into with looks and people, I just don't dig it.
Well, no, what I was talking about more, I know some guys are doing it. They have their guns in the hard case, and then their 3-gun bag, they fill their 3-gun bag with their other gear and clothes and check that.
Oh, I wouldn't make weight that way.
No.
Yeah, the way I have it set up with my range bag and the other shoes and the belt and all that crap, my bags are set up exactly at just under 50 pounds each.
Gotcha. So it's same, like we were saying, you can do it. You're just gonna have to play with it and figure it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of guys will you go to the teller and just hand him $100 and say, "Here's my overage fee. I'm over. I don't care. I'm not that guy."
No.
I'd rather play the game.
Yeah.
Lift it up on the bag on the scale, like it's good, right?
Yeah, that was the fun thing about flying for work. It's like, it's over? Cool.
Right.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Company card, here you go. So I guess that brings me to another question like you're talking about. So what shotgun mags do you think somebody should have?
So
we're talking, no, we're not talking travel anymore. We're talking for like a full loadout if you're getting into open, right?
Yeah, or both. Like when you're traveling, what do you take? And then if you're driving to a match, what do you take? Like what mags, if you're going to shoot open shotgun, what mags should you have?
So I know Dissident makes a couple other different sizes. Like they have a 16, they have all this other stuff. I still have 3 20-round mags and like 5 12-round mags. That's all I run. It's just those 2 standard style of mag. So I'll fly to a match with 2 long mags and 3 short mags, or 3 12-round mags. And then if I'm driving, I'll bring an extra long mag. But it's still just that.
Yeah, it's only 1 mag difference.
Yeah. Realistically, all you need is 2 big mags and a couple of small mags to get into it.
Okay. Are the shotgun mags kind of like pistol mags where, once a year you need to go through and change springs or followers or anything like that?
Well, it's all depending on how much you use it. If you're loading it up and unloading it all the time, if you're at the range all the time practicing, or shooting matches here and there, beating up on the mag during dry fire reloads and whatnot, that depends on how you use them. I will change them out every 2 years, something like that. I've only changed them out once. I'm about to after this year is done again. So this will be my 4th year in open, and I'll change them. This will be my 2nd time after this year's done.
Okay, so not like an immediate thing.
No, but it's good to know.
But again, I'm not shooting it as much as I used to when I first got it, because you first get the gun, you want to shoot it like crazy, right?
Yeah.
Nowadays you can't do that unless you got just a bunch of leftover pallets that you forgot that you lost somewhere, forgot about, and found.
See how many times Josh is changing his mag springs.
Oh, he's probably doing it every 3 weeks.
Just changes mags. It's cheaper.
Yeah, right. Do those take like a standard spring and follower for whatever those mags, or are they a special thing, kind of like a grams thing, or
you can buy
high powered ones?
I don't know. You probably could. I haven't gotten that much into it. I just get replacements from the shop whenever I need them. I'll just go in there and buy some replacements and swap them out.
Nice. Okay.
So it's just like standard Russian Vepr stuff. It's not competition oriented things?
No, I just buy the replacement SGM mags that I have for whatever was in the mag when I got it. I just changed to those again.
There you go.
There you go.
That's what I like about Scott Greene. It's just like he keeps shit simple,
Yeah, I like it. Well, and it's the same thing too. Like you don't need 30 mags to go practice and do all this other stuff. So
no, you need 30 trophies on your wall, and that is what Scott has.
Yeah.
Boom. Don't move the camera. Oh, come on. Oh, we weren't even seeing them all. There's more.
I missed the yellow already. Bring back the yellow.
Look at all the ribbons.
Those are all going away in this next week too.
Also, a very humble man.
Yeah, it's nice.
Doesn't like when you point out how awesome he is.
He's got more goals to meet.
I'm the fucking best at being humble.
Well played.
Let me know when you're going to swear.
Oh, sorry.
Just kidding.
Hey, I'm about to... Well, I guess since we're already on shotguns, so I guess the other thing is, so what chokes should you have? I know that all the guns pattern differently. So what's kind of a generalized...
So my perception is skewed on this because of IPSC experience again.
Closer to the mic. There you go.
My perception is skewed on this because of IPSC experience.
With all the tight no shoots and stuff?
Yeah. So now I have, and you don't need this, but I have 9 different chokes for my shotgun.
Okay.
But that's again just
I didn't even
IPSC.
know there were 9. That blows my mind.
No, it's the SG1, the SG2. It's only Scott Greene chokes, and it goes up to 9.
There's more than 9. You could go. I don't have a diffusion choke. I just have cylinder, all the way up through full, extra full, and turkey. But that's just for my gun and the IPSC stuff. I think you can get away with an open shotgun in 3-gun with an IC, a mod, and a full.
That's about what I've heard. What length barrel is your shotgun barrel?
18.1.
Okay. Do you have any idea if, like, I haven't talked to anybody that shoots a Limcat Vepr, obviously, about it, but like the Dissident ones that, everybody says that the IC chokes like an 18-inch Dissident. An IC is basically like a cylinder in a normal tube gun.
So my shotgun is about 1 pattern bigger than the Dissident shotguns. So whatever, if distance shoots, mod, I have to shoot improved mod, something like that.
Okay. So then your IC is probably closer to a diffusion or a skeet. It's probably more like a skeet.
Yeah, so I have a cylinder choke, and I still don't use it. I'll still just shoot IC on anything close. I never use a cylinder choke.
So if you were going to shoot like a little bit longer targets for the field course, is it actually going to mod, or are you stepping right up to full?
Well, it depends on the target size. I have a whole chart and a graph and a spreadsheet on it, so it's different for me.
Yeah. So in normal 3-gun, not IPSC, what are your like 2 go-to chokes you use the most?
IC 100%, and then either an improved mod or a full.
Okay. And then is that with what shells is that with?
The gold medals, the 1235 FPS 1 1/8.
Okay.
It's either 7.5 or 8 shot, either one.
Nice. I have a couple cases of those.
Is that all you shoot, Scott, or do you shoot other stuff as well?
That's my match ammo that I'll shoot.
Okay.
You could also shoot some AAs. You could also shoot for like Remington STSs. What you want to think about with shotguns, and the main problem people who just get into it do is they buy the gun and then buy cheap ammo, and then they have problems. And it's not the gun's fault, it's the cheap ammo's fault. So when you buy shotgun shells, they're designed to be stacked end to end, right? So all the rigidity in the shell is end to end. When you start stacking them on top of each other and again some spring tension and pushing that on the bottom of a bolt carrier, and say it's a little warm outside, you start getting pressure on the hull itself, and it's going to start ovalizing the tip.
Ovalizing.
Square peg, round hole.
If that's a word, I don't know. If it isn't, it is now. So
I think it is. I think that's a legit word.
I'm writing that one down.
Ooh,
so if you start getting oval shaped holes trying to feed into, it's not going to work.
Look at this, Scott. We're a few minutes in. He's already fact checking you.
No, I'm taking notes. I'm learning. I'm writing things down. This is going to my word a day toilet paper.
There you go.
Yeah,
so our guys still. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, so our oh God.
Scott Greene, go for it, buddy.
Yeah. So that's the reason why, and people make fun of it all the time. You see open shooters with the coolers full of shotgun ammo.
I was just about to ask that.
That is literally what I was going to ask. Do people actually still do that?
I do personally. If it's over like 85 degrees, then I'll do it, because the holes start getting soft, and then they get malleable, and then you're starting to have a bad time. So if it's over 85 and there's no shade, they're going in the cooler immediately. If it's under 85 and there's some shade, I'm not going to have a cooler out there or anything. It'd be fine. Okay. Just put it in the shade to be good to go.
Actually, I think from one of our conversations a long time ago, or maybe it was with Josh or something, I started like hiding my shotgun shells, like my AAs, because the AA holes, they're really good when they're AA shaped, but then those do heat up pretty fast in the sun, and you'd be surprised, like if you're working out of like a rental car or something, you don't know where all the windows are. You might actually have them sitting in the sun. So I've taken steps to even as a tack shooter, shove mine in the shade so it doesn't do anything to them. And I don't know if it's working, but I've never had a problem with it. So
yeah, I've done a little bit. Just been a little bit of the heat conscious. I've actually done the opposite with my rifle ammo for shooting somewhere where it's kind of cold and your your ammo's been in the trunk. I'll throw them inside the car or throw them in the sun for a few minutes so they get back up closer to that temperature I zeroed with and everything. So
yeah, it's funny you mention that, because if it's cold, I will put my rifle mag on my inside pocket of my coat, and so it has body heat. Thought I was the only one that did that.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, back to that ammo thing again. And when I was talking about with the gold medal and all the holes that I shoot, those are what I shoot for everything in major matches, yes. But you don't have to shoot those in the short mags. You can run cheap ammo in the short mags.
Oh.
That's good to know, especially for practice.
Yeah. There's not enough spring tension, in my experience, to actually start deforming the holes. It's when you use like 20-round mags, you get a crap load of spring tension. That's when the problems actually start coming out.
Yeah, I remember after the SHOT Show match a couple of years ago, we were picking up like all the discarded shot shells on the range and doing like rainbows through your shotgun.
Yeah, that's just through a short mag. It's fine. Yeah, that's before I even knew anything about it. But
yeah, I remember also because you had that big
week I had it.
Exactly.
Week I had it. Yeah.
You had that big carbon chunk in there. Like, Jesus, dude, how much you're supposed to clean these? Even I know that.
Yeah. Well, it's funny. So I think it was a couple of years ago now, I picked up a VR80 just for giggles, and I got it super cheap. And I took, I I think most of us have like a box or a bucket of all the random discard shells and all that. Mm-hmm. So it was one of those things I went out and put like 500, which is funny because that was pretty soon before the ammo shortage thing. It was like 6 months before that. So I went out.
That's right.
Yeah, I went up with like 500 shells through that VR80, like stack mags, and have any malfunctions. And I was like, oh, this is pretty cool.
And all of a sudden we go to Sportsman's, we can't find any ammo.
Yeah, I was like,
oh shit,
dang it! I wish I could take. Well, and I shot a bunch of slugs that day because I was shooting a spinner offhand, like 50 or 60 yards with it. I was like, this is so easy.
And then you go to the store.
Yeah, no slugs. I was like, I wish I could have all those slugs back. I just had a real tear. Well, that actually brings me up to another question. So I was going to ask, with shotgun, what is like the normal maintenance routine, or like what do you need to be looking at?
So I won't wipe down the inside or anything like that, except before a major match. But I will clean out the piston every 300 to 400 rounds, just because I'm that guy. But yeah, just clean out the gas block, and mostly that's going to solve most of your problems. Just keep the gas block clear, and you'll be good to go.
What kind of buildup are you getting in the gas block? Is it just carbon, or is it plastic and wad? And
it's just carbon. Yeah, okay. It's all just carbon right behind the piston, and then once you start that not getting enough, gas flow behind that piston, you're going to have short strokes and problems. Just start with stovepipes there, and then you're going to have a lot of feeding problems because you don't have enough bolt travel to pick up the round and shove it in and stuff like that. Just clean out the gas block, you'll be good to go.
Gotcha.
Interesting.
Yeah, see, again, these are all these
short stroking.
Yeah, again, these are all these questions of not having the experience with it. It's like things.
Sure.
These are the things people need to know.
Yeah, you start getting stovepipes or rounds not going home all the way, you're probably short stroking, and you're probably got buildup in your gas block.
I wouldn't even know to ask that question. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Damn.
And you're welcome. I learned the hard way, so now you know.
Thanks, Scott.
Yay!
I guess, can I jump in with a shotgun question? You were talking about maintenance. Do you have any more maintenance questions for us, or
no?
Okay. So years ago when we were shooting your shotgun, Scott, you were telling me I was aiming too hard on stuff, which I want to put the dot on the little square or a little hex, and then I want to pull the trigger like I'm shooting, my
PCC. Yeah.
I'm sorry?
Like a PCC.
Yeah, like a PCC. Exactly, like a PCC. Mm-hmm. But I guess, thinking about it while over the years, you kind of want to see it in the window. You just kind of
not
get a sense of it.
You want to, so it comes down to knowing your chokes with that, knowing your spread at distances for each choke, and then the window you can have around the target to still hit the target. Mm-hmm. So if I have a 10-inch spread at 10 yards and I got a 4-inch target, if I get within 4 inches of that target, I'm pulling the trigger. That's just choke knowledge. Is all it comes down to.
Okay.
Nice.
Okay.
And then you're shooting a 6mm Razor on your shotgun?
Yep, a couple of them.
Yep. So that was another question I was going to ask. So in IPSC, I think the second dot probably has a useful purpose. Do you think the second dot is useful in our style, the American 3-gun?
Yes, it is. And not for... Yes, there are some hard leans here and there, but especially, the whole point of the 45 red dot is for leaning around a wall in the first place, right? Well, when you have a shotgun, especially with a 20-round mag on it, people don't account for the mag length hitting the wall they're leaning around. So guys get hooked on that a whole bunch.
Okay.
Yeah. So you want to take a little farther step back and then lean even more, and then the dot comes into play.
Gotcha. Yeah, because running the dot on my PCCs come in handy many times, but I've never associated it with the shotgun. So
yeah, it's not so bad with the PCC with the straight mag, but when you have that curved, shotgun mag, you can get it hooked on things pretty easily.
Okay.
Especially if you're leaning pretty hard.
Good to know. I need another dot now.
Yeah. More dot. I'm like guarding my dots over here from him.
What dot is that, Dave?
Leave it. So slugs, speaking of dots, so do you zero the dot for your slugs and then just kind of know where your impact is on your chokes, or
exactly that?
Okay. I might have learned that from Scott, actually.
How far off are the patterns versus the slug impact? Like, does you have to play with your slugs and shot, or is that just gun to gun, or?
So there's a significant amount of offset between between those optics and the actual barrel on those guns. So I zero at 50 with my slugs. And then I just checked the impact on paper with birdshot at 7 yards, and I have to hold 12 o'clock at 7 yards, and then like top edge of a target, whatever it may be, at 7 yards, I'll hold top edge. And anything past 10, it's pretty much a dead hold.
Okay.
Huh. That's cool. You said you zero at 50.
Yep.
Okay.
For the slugs I shoot out of the gun, I have, it works out that way.
Do you have to shoot like high power slugs, or can you use normal low recoil?
I shoot the 7/8 ounce Fiocchi.
Oh, okay.
The 1300s.
Me too.
Yep.
Yeah.
1300s.
Yeah, that's actually one of the things I was going to ask about too. Is kind of what you needed for slugs in those.
Yeah.
So if you start, so that's fine out of the gate. If you start getting late in the match and you haven't cleaned your gun, say you've got 200 rounds through your gun, and then you got a 20 round mag and you start off with 4 slug shots. With those 7/8 ounce that I shoot, your gun, if you haven't cleaned it, it may be a little dirty, and you may start getting that, all that spring tension, that short stroke I was talking about.
Mm-hmm.
So in a scenario like that, if I haven't cleaned it, which I would never do, I would have it cleaned before this stage. I would never compensate a stage plan for a dirty gun. But if you did do that route, I would, put a short mag in, shoot the slugs out of the short mag where you don't need so much power to overcompensate, and then reload to a birdshot mag.
Nice.
Interesting. So the operation of the gun sounds like super sensitive to spring tension.
It can be if you don't keep up with the maintenance. If you do the maintenance, you're fine.
So when
It's just knowing your
open does
specific
not
gun.
sound like the division for me then.
No, it's just knowing your specific gun. That's all it comes down to.
Okay, interesting.
So when you're saying, you would clean it before that stage, is that just a little wipe down, or is that you're going to break it down and clean the piston before that stage?
I'm just going to take a dental pick. If it's before that stage and I know I've already shot 200 rounds and the gun's starting to feel a little bit slower than it's supposed to, I'll take the piston out and I'll get a dental pick and I'll just pop all that carbon that's in there out of there and put it back in and good to go.
Yeah. That doesn't take long on those, does it?
No. It takes,
It's like wiping down your bolt in your AR, isn't it?
Yeah, you just take out 3 components and then you take a dental pick and just chip some stuff away and put it back together again. You're good to go.
Easy money.
It's just 10 seconds slower than changing a choke anyway. So
Yep. So with the shotgun with slug and birdshot transition stuff, do you ever? Well, I'm sure you do. What do you think it's worth, like candy caning mags versus just doing mag changes?
Oh, it's still worth it. Game plan breakdown is still going to be person to person and comfort levels, but I'm never going to sacrifice a better game plan for a safer mag setup. So if it's faster to have a candy cane load, I'm going to do that because it's faster. And if I mess up, that's on me. I shouldn't have messed up.
Look at that. That's a winner's mentality right there.
Hey,
We play to win.
F&A Cotton.
go down in flames or be the hero.
To win the game.
Sweep the leg.
Full send every time.
You know what? I think that's a little bit of the mentality with open, and like I'm sure there's times where you need to kind of rein it back and cruise and all that, but the very limited experience I have playing with my open guns is if I shoot them like my tac guns, and look for all the individual sight pictures and do all this and that, I don't notice much difference. But like Adam Maxwell says, if you shoot them angry, it seems like that's where they really shine.
Yeah, you got to send it. You got a 14 round array of shotgun and tac, you're going to be panicking, right? Well, no, not in open. You got 20 rounds. You're fine. You better send it because you're going to fight for a half a second between that array between somebody else instead of who messes their quad load up or not.
God, it sounds so much fun.
It's who has makeup shots. Yeah, it's just a drag race instead.
I love the whole idea of just full send.
Yeah.
All right, I'm interested again. I could learn how to clean a gun.
Yeah. Dave, can we put a nitrous button on your shotgun? There's no restrictors. It's full nitrous. Just go.
Just blow the manifold.
Blow the manifold.
Yes.
Yep.
Buy a new one. It's fine. It's open.
Money's no object in open.
Of course not.
Or, 3-gun in general. What are we talking about here?
Awesome. What else you got for shotgun there, Forrest?
I think we've covered most everything I have on here, although when we were talking, I thought about something and lost it again. So maybe that'll cycle back around.
Do you want a pen?
The answer's 12. Yeah.
Yes.
There you go.
Yes. I have a pen, actually. I just did not utilize my pen because I'm not a professional at this.
Well, the answer's 12 whenever you think of the question.
I'm just going to write 12 up at the top here, and I'm going to circle it
While we're working on this transition here, I would just like to point out that earlier Scott said he grabs whatever SGM components that he can and rebuilds the mags, and those are Scott Greene mags.
Yes, Scott Greene mags.
SGM components.
Hey,
been holding on to that one for a while.
oh, boy.
Yep, crickets. They can't all land. They can't all land.
So I don't even need a button. I'll just do it.
We need to work on our timing here, buddy. You're supposed to cover for me. Come on, wingman.
Yeah.
Ask a question.
I was distracted by something over here. Don't worry about that. Parker keeps coming up and licking my toes, and it's a little weird. I'm like, oh God.
Well, there's only 2 of us in the room, so it's not me.
I see the video. I know what's happening.
Tell no secrets.
What else you got, buddy?
I'll remember what that shotgun. I had one more shotgun question, but it'll probably come back to me. But until then, let's move on. So I guess rifle is probably a little bit easier. And we've already talked about rifle a little bit. So do you think it's worth actually having bags?
So I've never bought a bag. I stole a bag from a buddy last year. And yeah, it's nice to have, but you don't need it. Especially if you just want to play in open, you don't need it at all.
Well, what about for somebody, like me or like you or just somebody else that wants to get in and compete, What about one of the handguard mounted, like the Arca rail mounted bags for like barriers or something?
I'm not going to go with that because generally in 3-gun you can leave a prop behind. So if I have a scenario where I had this scenario this last weekend at this last 3-gun match I shot where I had 3 positions to shoot from to hit 3 different targets, it doesn't matter. I had 3 positions. And the first one, I was on a tank trap. Second one was through a port. And the third one was from like a rooftop, more or less, right? Well, if you had a bag if you wanted to use a bag on the tank trap, you could have. But then if you had it permanently attached to your gun and you tried to put your handguard through that slot of the port, you're not going to fit anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So in that scenario, I wouldn't use it, but I'd have a regular bag. If I wanted to use a bag on that specific prop, I would, but I didn't. It doesn't matter. But I would use it and then drop it and go to the port with a clean handguard and shove that through instead.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. So I avoid things that are permanently attached. Everything I have is QD on as far as bipods go or bags go. I can always just rip that off immediately and not have to worry about it.
What is that bipod QD mount you use? I've seen you and Max play with it, and it looks like it goes off really easy.
Yeah, so I was cheap until yesterday. I had something nice show up here. But I had bought a ADM mount, American Defense mount.
Yeah.
But they come with a lock, QD lock on them, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I just knocked that lock out.
Oh, there you go.
Oh.
Yeah, just punch that thing out of there. Then you're good. You
So it's literally just like a Picatinny QD then.
Yeah.
Oh,
Just
okay.
a regular pick QD. I had a fancy contraption I made to extend a Harris bipod I brought that was too short because I'm tall. And anyway, that had a QD mount on it, popped the lock out, and you just tension it tight. And then once you're done, you just throw your thumb forward and it throws that off. But I've since upgraded. But there's nothing wrong with that setup. It's totally fine. But I since upgraded to an actual Nord Arms bipod, the fancy ones, because why not?
Somebody just had a birthday.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and that might be why.
I'm not familiar with the Nord Arms.
I'm not either.
They are... They're the best bipods you can buy, basically. For 3-gun specifically and IPSC rifle shooting stuff. They're carbon fiber. They have a built-in QD lock, oversized throw lever to undo the QD. Once we're done with this podcast, I'll bring it out. I'll show you on video here.
Oh, that's cool. Is that a U.S. company or is that something derived from IPSC?
They're from Europe. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, mine got ordered like a month and a half ago. I just got here. Yeah.
It seems like in the shooting formats that they do have in Europe and all that with the IPSC stuff, it looks like those things are a little bit more like evolved than ours. It looks like we're a little bit behind to those things here. Just because I think it's one of those things when you focus on one gun so much, they're fine-tuning everything.
Yeah, they're very good at certain skill sets, and when we go over there as Americans, we have a hard time adjusting from our go fast mentality. We can't Ricky Bobby everything over there.
You can't win with anger.
No, it's rough. So yeah, they have a skill set built around the matches, and that's what you see over there. So when you see them destroying things, you get the tools they're using and try to figure out how they're doing it with that. That's what I did.
That's good to know. So I'm very interested in the World Shoot stage. So it's good things to know. We were talking about that may be another conversation we have to have.
Yeah, if you'll have us back in your yellow office, we'd love to talk to you again.
It won't be yellow anymore. Yeah.
Dang it!
This is the last podcast.
This is the last podcast with the yellow office.
It is.
Well, anyway, we have a lot of other questions for a part 2. So whatever color it is, we ought to do this again if you're willing.
Oh yes.
Yep.
Awesome.
So on the rifle, obviously running the 45 dot. Are you running that at a close zero or doing like a 50-yard standard zero on that?
Whatever zero my primary is, I'm now zero by offset for that. So my holdovers on close targets are the same.
Can I get an amen? I like that. There's nothing. I always wondered why it was different between the two. It's like, oh yeah, this one's a 113-yard zero and this one's a 22-yard zero. Like, no, make them the same. You only have one to remember. You only have one hole to remember.
My first year in open, I had my primary at 50 or 200, whatever, and then my offset was 25 yards, and I shot it that way because in my head I was thinking I'd never shoot that offset past 25 yards anyway. Well, then you start. About halfway through the season, I realized my holdovers on like 15-yard targets were different than my primary optic, and it started messing with my head a little bit. So I never went back the second year, and since then I've just had the same zero on both optics.
I think that makes a lot of sense.
I think it does too. You run a 150 mount for your optic?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the only thing I've noticed. Like running the 193 mount, the holdovers on the close stuff's pretty tall, but it's worth it. I really like the 193 mounts. I can tell you though, finding a 45-degree mount that is the same height as the 193 is a pain. So,
oh yeah,
I think I'm gonna have to.
I think Tapco makes a Picatinny riser.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to do something like that. Valhalla or somebody like that makes an awesome 45 mount for it, but they don't make it for the Razor platform.
Lame.
Yeah, they make them for the SROs and RMRs and all that. All the 193 45 mounts I find aren't for the Razors.
Yeah, just machine one. You're fine.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I've actually thought about that.
Yeah.
Don't tempt me. I'll drill holes in things.
Yeah, I made my shotgun mount. It's a 2-in-1. You know, my 45 and my primary are on the same mount on my shotgun.
Nice. Is that so they're the same distance from your eyeball?
No, it's because I don't trust the plastic rail on top of the dust cover on the Vepers.
The plastic Picatinny rail?
Yeah, you can change it to metal if you want to, but again, I just took that rail completely off my gun.
So where's your dot mounted then?
It's on the front trunnion.
Where the front sight, the stock front sight is, you mill that off and then attach a mount or a rail or whatever you want.
You know how my AK is, where I milled off the rear sight and then I put it there. I did that same thing on my AK.
Rear sight.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I just mill it flat.
Oh, rear sight. Okay, I'm tracking now.
Sorry.
Yeah,
I was thinking like what, like a scout setup?
Yeah,
no, sorry.
Yeah, the rear sight is on the front trunnion.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah,
my bad. Okay,
so
moving on.
Yeah, right. And then so with that, do you worry about tuning your comp? Are you tuning your comp to be neutral with your optic or with your dot?
So you would have to ask 2017 Scott, because I'm still shooting the same gun I was shooting then.
Yeah,
and I haven't changed anything.
There you go.
What kind of comp do you shoot out of curiosity?
Limcat.
Oh, right. And is it tunable?
No.
Oh, so
yeah. When you're
the
still
answer
shooting,
is he's not tuning anything.
Yeah, you're still shooting a stretch 16, aren't you?
Stretch 16. I do have a custom buffer we made in house, and the whole buffer system we made in house, but that's different.
Gotcha.
Got it.
Yeah.
So as far as comp, no tuning.
Yeah.
Yep.
At least not for Scott. He doesn't
but
need
again,
that.
you want
voodoo.
to tune. You don't want to just want to tune a comp. You want to tune the whole gun. The bolt carrier, the comp, the buffer system. You want to tune the whole thing, not just a specific aspect of that gun.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's like my rifles are usually very tuned, but it's one of those things where when I think of the very tuned, like I get particular about my comp, and I'm like, do I want my comp tune neutral for my dot or my optic?
Jesus,
I'm gonna go right in between.
Oh man,
you're gonna have one good.
You're gonna have to change the cant of your XLR butt again.
Yeah,
it's gonna be like horizontal by the time you're done with it.
it will be. That'd be weird. I'm gonna put it on bearings so it rotates on my shoulder and have stops on it.
Scott, do you remember that guy stopped us at SHOT Show and showed us that?
I think I do. I think so.
It was the stock on bearings, and he had like a airsoft gun that was, or maybe it was just even the lower or something like that. But he's like, yeah, you can transition from the sides. He's like, yeah, I really think this would be popular in 3-gun, and then just walked away. He's like, you got a really good 3-gunner here and like a podcast dude thingy, and we never saw him again.
The guy probably woke up from his LSD trance where he came up with that and ran away. He's still in Vegas. Don't worry about him.
Yeah, he's still looking for buyers.
He's trying to get out of the sand still. Yeah.
It's funny, though, because as we think about this, I'm sitting here like my brain's from like, oh, you could put that on bearing and you could use magnets to center it and go to one side. And like
magnets.
Yeah. I'm gonna do an engineering drawing later. Don't worry about it.
Oh God.
I have graph paper with me.
I see that. Sounds like a useful endeavor.
Yeah, I think, rifle's pretty basic. I think that comes up with that. And then we already talked about bipods and the bags. And then I was going to ask about the QD mounts. So I think we've already covered all that.
I really like Scott's approach to a lot of things is he just, worries about the shooting and less about the gear. But I have, I do have to jump in here and say that I've spoken to several open shooters that said like the bag is super important. And it's even more important than the bipod. Now, Scott's smiling because, he's probably heard that as well and just found like that as a crutch. But,
Yeah. Or you could be like James Gill and be like, no bipods, no bags, nothing, hates them all. So,
And on the opposite end of the spectrum, I did watch Jacob Betzworth like walk onto his stage at Rocky Mountain 3-gun like with lanyards all over him, like toting all kinds of pillows and rear bags, front bags, and it's like, okay, you might be a little overkill there, buddy.
Oh, I can tell you one thing I'm going to do. I'm going to go to a local, or I'm going to go somewhere and troll somebody. I'm going to blow up an air mattress, and I'm going to put a rope on it, put it on my back, and then I'm going to go prone, like sling it off, like unslinging it.
In the air mattress?
Yeah, I'm going to lay on an air mattress. And be like, it's open, man. I can do whatever I want. I'm just going to troll people.
Just make sure you get that on video, please.
Oh, yeah.
Get the floaties for your arms.
Yeah, I think we're going to add that to the new division thing, where...
There you go.
See how people like that one.
It did say unlimited bipods and bags.
You have a blow up. What are those blow up like Lazy Boy? The armchairs. You just have one of those. You just walk up and sit down.
Or better yet, the avalanche bags or bags.
Oh yeah, there
have
you
seen
go.
Those, Scott? Scott, you're in the mountains ish, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm in the middle of the Rockies. I'm up high. Anyway, well,
yeah. So an avalanche, what is it called? An avalanche pack or something like that? Basically, it's like if you're in an avalanche, you pull a ripcord and this thing inflates around you like an airbag in a car.
Yeah, it turns you to an instant hamster in a ball.
Yeah, it turns you into a hamster in a ball. And like the idea is like, when the snow settles, it settles on the bag. You deflate the bag and then you have a pocket to breathe in. So
yeah, I've seen those. Yeah,
that's the new open gear right there.
Have you seen the skyscraper free fall backpack?
No.
So if the building's on fire below you and you can't get down, they have this thing you put on and jump out the window and pull. And it's like a giant upside down umbrella you land in.
What?
Yeah.
YouTube.
Like how? Yeah, I know. How long before like rock climbers are using those, free climbers?
Oh, it's pretty large. I don't know if you want to carry it.
Was this invented in China?
Is this just for one person?
I think it might have been.
Yeah, I think that's a China thing.
Is this just for one person?
Yeah. Yeah.
So everybody has one of these?
I don't know if it's a thing, but someone made this and I've seen it. I don't know if it's a commonplace item.
If I can get it in fanny pack or MERS version, I'm in.
Dude, fanny pack version would be sick.
Yeah.
Because we're bringing fanny packs back.
Yeah. If you have a fanny pack and a MERS, you can have everything.
It's a satchel.
Oh, dude, they have those fanny packs with like the inflatable rafts in them, so you could roll up to a stage and just rip cord that and have a raft pop out in front of you and lay on that.
All right, this is where we get back on the rails.
All right.
Moving up the list to pistol.
Yeah, and I think there's more questions with the pistol stuff too, which we'll see where we get from there. So,
I can hear Amax already starting to grind his teeth.
Yeah, I cannot wait to hear Scotty Greene's opinion on this one.
Oh,
yeah. I have a lot of questions too. I think Forrest has them all. Forrest, go for it, buddy. Ask all my questions.
I got you. So, I've watched enough of your stuff where, you're shooting a frame mounted dot with an open holster, conventional USPSA open holster. Do you
bring back the helmet cam?
Yeah.
Should I?
Yeah, those were awesome.
Okay, I'll do it.
The sound was always weird. It was like boing, boing, boing.
Well, it's the GoPro.
Yeah.
I gotta say, I don't watch anybody else's helmet cam. It's not interesting, but Scott's always were for some reason. It's like, oh man, oh wow, look at him do that. Oh, that was cool.
Yeah, I've watched a bunch of them too.
Oh, yeah.
It was good.
I like that. It was like your signature.
Yeah, I'll bring it back.
So, have you played with a slide ride open gun? Have you played around with those to see which one you actually like better, or is it just run what you brung?
Yeah, I played with all of them. My viewpoint on which gun to get is I'm gonna shoot the fastest gun possible. I'm not gonna shoot a gun built around a holster. So guys who are scared to run a race holster or something of that aspect, they're gonna compensate for a don't want to say worse, but a slightly less advantageous gun to have more security in the back of their head.
Yeah, this is what Dave and I were talking about recently. We were talking about, I think, where the progression of 3-gun open is going to be. You're going to see a lot more frame-mounted traditional USPSA style open guns as the holsters become, either they catch up with retention to make people feel better, or people become more comfortable with the open style holster, especially with the locking mechanisms and everything. But because it's the same thing, if the slide ride open gun, like granted they're very fast, they shoot great, but if they were truly faster, that's what you would see in USPSA open and IPSC open and everything else. But the fact that you see the traditional frame mounted open guns tells you that that should be a faster, more competitive platform.
Yeah, it's spoiler alert for Scott, who has not listened to episode 300. That's one of the reasons. Yeah, I can meet you here if you like. That's one of the reasons that we we're talking about slide rides for TAC is it's still an advantage to have a frame mounted dot. And Scott will tell us right now, but I've shot both, and the fact that the dot is not on the thing that's moving is a huge advantage. Now that's not saying that a dot is not an advantage over iron sights. It certainly is, especially when you're talking about like the 2011 platform. Even just the IWI Masada that I've got sitting next to me over here, it with a dot on it is like a huge upgrade. Like it's so cheating to have a dot on your pistol,
especially the technical shots, like 5-yard paper, whatever. But
when you're talking about like super fast stuff, that dot not moving, like we were shooting your open pistol the other day, Forrest. Like that's huge because like you have one sight picture.
Yeah. When that's the more aggressive you shoot it, the better it performs.
That's why people spend all the money on like those island barrels, right? Because you're staring at the front sight and ostensibly it's not supposed to move as much.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So
theoretically,
and even at JKM,
ostensibly, theoretically,
JKM, Tucker Schmidt and I were talking about, because Tucker has an Akai frame mount open gun and an Akai slide ride open gun built specifically for 3-gun. And I noticed he was shooting his frame mount gun in an open holster there, and I was talking to him about it, and he said he shot both, and he definitely prefers the frame mount gun. So, and then for him, he uses that Safariland, the 014 holster, and he said the locking mechanism is great on. He doesn't worry about it at all. Then it doesn't have the lever to catch on a sling, because that's my other thing is like, in the base style matches, like West Coast base style matches, I don't think the open holster with the frame mount is really any issue at all. I do think about that maybe in a Texas style match where you're slinging and unslinging and all that, if you have that lever lock underneath the trigger guard, that could potentially become an issue. But
yeah, it could be. But that's again why I also sling on the other side of my body, so I avoid that entire, component.
There you go.
Yeah, I mean, I was just thinking, which way do I sling? I sling the same way Scott slings.
Okay.
Yep.
Do you have a Limcat open holster? Is that their Limcat Stealth? That's a push button, isn't it?
No, it's a lever.
Is it?
But the internals are different than generic race holsters.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
So it's the same
Different
one I've been
than
using.
generic race holsters.
Yeah. It's not the common,
It's not the common.
It's not the common.
It's not the
ones.
common
You
race
want,
holster.
you want the race holster of race holsters. You don't want a generic race holster.
Oh,
You don't want the common race.
guess we're getting on limcat.com after this.
I've already looked on there. I can't find those holsters anymore.
Yeah, they're not listed at the moment. I don't have to yell at them. They're extremely overwhelmed at the moment with the orders and whatnot. I gotta yell at them.
Oh, I'm sure.
I was actually looking for one. I was online the other night looking for one because I've heard a bunch of people say that the Limcat open holster is the nicest one. I've never played with one, but I've heard that a few times. So I was like, I'm going to go on and buy one, and I couldn't find one to buy.
Yeah.
Shooters Connection sells them when they have them. They go quick, but if you can't find one on Limcat's website, you can look on Shooters Connection. If not, you can always call the shop and bug them, and they'll make one.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, they're much more of a phone company. You call them and ask them, talk to them, and then they'll probably do whatever you want.
I like that though. I like that kind of that old school. Like let's call and talk. Let's see what you really need.
I mean, the man's been doing it for 25 years. Yeah.
I recently tried to work with a company. This is outside of the firearms industry, but I called them twice and asked to be called back. And finally, on the fourth day, I got an email.
Very generic email.
Yeah. And it was like copy paste from their website, and I about came unglued. Like, if you want me to show up at your place of business, this is how you do it.
Yeah. So what do you see as the open pistol trend in 3-gun? Do you think it's going to stay with slide ride and all that? Or do you think you see the transition more to frame mount?
No, I think the general population is going to be shooting slide rides because of the security of the the holsters, level 2 holsters and whatnot. Generally, guys aren't fighting for wins. They're not fighting for tenths of seconds. They're just out there to have fun with the guns they got, and they're trying to do well with them, yeah, but they don't want to get DQ'd for a stupid thing like a gun falling out. So they're not going to risk it. They're not going to risk saving a second or two over a 200-second match with a holster that they probably don't have the most confidence in out of the gate.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
My prediction is that there's gonna be some development with holsters or with mindset, and there's gonna be more as open heats up and gets closer and closer. My prediction is you're gonna see more of that.
It could be. I hope so.
Do you think that's a West Coast thing for frame mount versus slide ride?
No, I don't think it is. Well, actually, I'm kind of skewed because I live in Limcat Central. Johnny's right down the street from me, and the whole, everyone out here shoots a Limcat, so I'm skewed on my perception of what everyone uses.
Wish I lived near you. I'd shoot a Limcat.
I mean, all the custom gun makers are all, generally speaking, regional. You go to a certain area, you're going to see a certain thing.
Oh yeah, I was surprised when I don't know why I was surprised, but when I was in Austin, how many damn people that I'd never heard of, never met, never seen a major match, the only shoot club matches were shooting Hayes custom guns.
Yeah.
I was like, jeez, that's crazy.
At JCAM, when we were just at, like, everybody had an Atlas.
Yeah.
Not even in that area, but it's a regional. Everybody
But that's
had
an
Atlas.
AMAX thing. Like, AMAX spread that. He's patient zero.
Yeah. But it definitely showed. It was like, it's like, this is my first match. I was like, that's a sweet Atlas, dude. He's like, yeah.
I like that guy. That guy's cool.
Yeah. I was like, cool, dude.
Yeah, the guy that buys, I'm thinking about, maybe doing some SCCA autocross, the parking lot racing, and goes and buys a Z06 Corvette. I like that guy.
Yeah.
That guy's cool.
Well, that's the thing again, it's just how that goes. But even that small pistol league thing that I teach during the week or whatever, it's like most of these guys, it's funny because none of these guys shoot USPSA. They don't shoot any other match but this one stage pistol league, and most of the guys there have Atlases or Kais or Hayes. Like, they all have full tilt Rockstar open guns. And it's like, good for you.
Good for them. They're actually getting out and using them, though.
Yeah. I mean, that's all they use them for, but good for them. It blows me away, but
yeah. I mean, Mazel tov,
Yeah, good for them.
To each their own.
Do you think, somebody's going to wonder this. Again, I'm trying to think of some general public here. Do you think the height difference between a buried slide ride and a frame down, frame mount is accountable for anything.
It's negligible. Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I
feel like 5 dry fire draws and you're good.
No, the difference is going to be what? What's the maximum difference between those? A half an inch, if that.
Yeah, I'm sure not even that.
And like the way people shoot pistols, I mean, especially at the speed we shoot them at, if you're going to have a quarter inch or an eighth of an inch difference at 20 yards, like what's the difference?
Yeah,
there's nothing.
Yeah, well, and that's been my things. Like, I don't think at first I thought that height was probably more important. After playing with them and really looking at them a little bit more, it's like I think that's an irrelevant thing.
I think the only thing is like your eye picking it up, and again, like just a few dry fire draws seems like you get rid of that real easy.
Yeah,
it's like those turds that are like, oh, I can't shoot a Glock because the angle. Like, yeah, I bet you have trouble driving different cars too, don't you?
It's like, oh, why don't you just play with it a little bit? Point it at some light switches in your house, you'll get it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, a guy coming from iron sights is going to have an easier time picking up the dot with a slide ride because the transfer is a little smaller. But I mean, it's not a difference. It's not at all. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. Well, I think that's interesting too. Some people have such a hard time transitioning to open gun and picking up the dot. For me, I don't even have to think about it. Like the first time I do, it's like, oh, there's the dot. Like, and every time I don't know that I've ever had to do the little figure 8 thing to find the dot. I just point it at what I want to shoot.
On other people's pistols, I've definitely done that.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Well, other people's pistols.
Actually, I take that back. On certain dots, I've done that. Like on the small RMRs, I don't pick those up well at all.
Yeah, I guess now I'm thinking about it. What's the old school circle-y one?
The Seymour.
Yeah, that was the one that I don't know if it's something specific to do with that, just maybe how far the
wait a minute, isn't
LED
that called the Seymour slide ride?
Yeah.
And it's the frame mount?
Yeah, it's not a slide ride at all. I don't know how that.
And no one would ever put that on a slide ride.
That's funny.
Well, I think the one that they put a pick rail on some of them for ARs, and they call it the railway. It's like, I don't know where they come up with these names.
Huh.
Well, they just have their RTS2 now. So there you go. That's what everyone uses anyway.
Yeah.
Well, for Seymour sights anyway.
Yeah. So is it the same thing on your pistol using that same 6MOA razor?
Yes, I have 6 on my pistols. Yeah.
Yeah. And then with the dot, are you still doing like a 25-yard zero, or you found something better?
So I'm a little weird on mine. My pistol's at 17 yards.
Mm-hmm.
Because I shoot
That's
a
number
lot.
I had in my head.
I shoot a lot of USPSA as well. And generally speaking, my targets are between 10 and 25 yards. So, right down Main Street.
Yeah, that's what I ended up doing with my USPSA PCC. Is that
17 yards?
Yeah, 17 yards for me was the perfect for side offset from short targets, far targets, and all that. 17 yards was the magic number for that.
Yep, same for me. PCC is also 17 yards.
Yep, there you go. Now the world knows our secrets. It's funny though that we both came up with that separately.
well, Ruben gave a lot of the guys from Vortex gave me a lot of crap at TwoGun Nats about that. Like Cody Leeper started bringing out spreadsheets, and then Ruben started bringing out spreadsheets, and I zero at 50, I zero at this and that. I'm like, I do 17. They all like dropped food out of their mouth and turned. Like, what are you doing? I'm like, well, I shoot between 10 and 25 yards. It's right in the middle. It's like the holdover is like negligible. And they're like, what? Yeah, anyway, that's all it was.
That's how I came to it too.
Back in the day when I was shooting red dots on my AR before the 3-gun, like I chose the 50-yard zero because there was less deviation between, barrel and 200.
Mm-hmm.
Like you don't have to worry about that huge rainbow if it's within the variation of the 4 MOA dot you've got.
Exactly.
So. Yeah, and that's a good point. It's like, what is the difference at 25 yards on a 17-yard zero? It's got to be less than that 6 MOA dot, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
There you go.
Yep.
Scott Greene for president, everybody.
There you go.
No.
Well, I mean, we experienced that too when we were playing with my open pistol the other day with the 6 MOA dot. When we're like going to zero, it's like, the dot covers up the little target we put out there.
So yep.
It's like, I think it's about here.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yep. All right. What else we got on the pistol there, buddy?
So do you think it's worth shooting major versus minor? I think you shoot all major, don't you?
Yeah, I'm probably the only one still doing that though. But that's just because I shoot a lot of USPSA again, and the recoil impulse between major and minor it's noticeable, and I don't want to have to think my gun malfunctioned while shooting minor when it actually didn't.
Oh,
gotcha. So you're actually looking for a little bit more of the feedback from the major, just for that feel.
Oh, no, I don't looking for more. I just want to not have a difference between the two loads, which is, I'm not going to be able to have that. So I could load a hotter minor load, sure, but I just going to keep it the same and shoot major the whole time. And also, it's fantastic for spinners, and everyone gets jealous.
Yeah,
Envious.
I bet.
oh,
Yeah.
yeah. So we were looking up some numbers as I was setting up the podcast machine here because I usually don't record with two mics in the same room. But Forrest was saying 1,400 feet per second on one of the loads he was looking up.
Yeah, the 124.
That's what I'm shooting. Yeah.
Crazy.
On about 1,400. Yeah.
That's fun.
That's hot.
So how did those shoot at
yeah.
distance? Like if you shoot the Texas 3-gun style 90-yard plates,
I'm just going to hold that on or hold bottom edge.
just hold right there, huh? That would be kind of cool. Just let her rip.
Yeah, I just hold that on. Yeah, it's fine. They're barely dropping at all. If it is dropping, it's mostly me jerking the trigger on it or something. So.
Yeah. Well, the great part about that too is like you ever have like, oh, there's a heavy popper. Like make sure you get a good one on there. Like I got major.
Yeah.
I love that.
Hammered
love
to the
that.
ground.
Yeah, I can do a spinner in 7 shots. It's great. I can do it in 2. I can do 3 on top, 4 on bottom. I'm done. I'm leaving. Just like that.
That's awesome.
Yes. I get sweared at a lot when I do that. Yeah. And actually, I've passed out a lot of major ammo to people at matches because they want some major ammo.
Dollar around.
Yep. There you go.
Nah, they can have it. They can try.
Got to pay for that flight.
Yeah. So with the recoil impulse on those, again, this is not anything I've played with, so I'm curious about. So the 9 minor, I think, in the Opa gun, you could still make the gun shoot softer and have a little bit more dot movement, or like about the same as 9. But isn't 9 major like you feel the recoil in your hand more?
It's a lot louder, and you feel the vibration more. But the dot movement is basically identical between major and minor for me, and it's just the thought process of feeling something that doesn't feel normal outside of my USPSA shooting that makes me hesitate again and look at the chamber. Oh no, it's not malfunctioning. It's totally fine. Just keep shooting again. I don't want to have to stop and think about it. I just want to shoot and have no difference between if I was shooting a USPSA match 3 days before this or if I'm shooting this now.
Yeah. Well, and I think that makes a lot of sense with how much USPSA you shoot versus 3-gun anyway. That I think it just makes sense for you to shoot the major for 3-gun. So
yeah. Now, granted, I've been actually, I don't want to say this because AMAX is going to smile ear to ear, thinking about getting something that may shoot just factory. I can shoot factory ammo through my gun now, but I don't really like it that much. But I want to be able to fly to a match, get ammo again at the match, and just shoot it and not have to worry about it. But that's still like a year.
Can't do that anyway.
Off. Yeah, it's still like a year or 2 off at least. But
yeah. So you're just talking about a different pistol configuration?
I don't know. I thought about getting a slide ride to play with it and see if I actually like it or not, and like put some real rounds through it to see. But that's just peer pressure. I don't want to cave, so I'm gonna stay frame mounted.
Attaboy.
Well,
think of all the ammo you could ship for the price of that slide ride pistol.
Well, I'm thinking of all the shit I've talked about slide rides.
Well, that too. You got your pride to think about, boy.
This is my hill.
Well, it's the same thing. Like, obviously, I don't have a crystal ball, but I think where you're at is where people are going to come back to. Watch, you'll build a slide rod, and you're like, oh, it's not bad. Like, I'll do this and that. And then in a year or 2, when you make that move anyway, everybody's going to be moving to frame mounts because people see that there's a little bit of advantage there.
Yeah, for sure.
So
if I can hear that when I go back and edit this podcast, I'm going to smack you. Phone's on airplane mode. Amateur hour over here, Scott.
Rookie mistake.
I know.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because when we started, I was like, I'm going to silence my phone. And then I did silence it, but now it's still doing things. So, man, I don't know that I have much more. I was going to bring up the travel thing, but we did that from the start too.
I got a couple of questions if you don't mind me asking some questions. You can think if you got anything else, we'll come back to you.
Absolutely.
So, Scotty, we know all the great reasons to shoot open it's a drag race. You get 3 new guns, which new guns are always fun. There's a whole new sort of thing. All the competition's there. What are maybe some reasons not to switch to open from limited or TAC?
You like to go slow.
And muting Forest. No, I'm just kidding. You're afraid of speed.
I mean, there's no reason not to shoot up and come play with me.
Yeah.
Oh, that was dirty. Say it again.
I like that. Yeah. Gonna isolate that, and that's a new button on the.
Yeah. That should be.
We're gonna get rid of the crickets. It's just gonna be Scott.
Come shoot up and play with me. Do you have a deeper, more sensual voice?
Come play with me.
No, that's just kind of creepy.
Yeah. Worked for me.
Oh, Dave liked it.
I liked it. Yeah.
I don't know.
No, I think that's perfect answer.
Reason like not to yeah, there could be a considerable monetary investment if you wanted to go that route.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to do that. But I mean, if everyone else is playing it open, what are you going to do? Play in limited by yourself with one other guy? Unless you have a buddy who you have a ongoing rivalry with, then that's fun. But
yeah,
we play to have fun and compete. Right? If you want to compete, everyone's going to open. So come compete, come race, come bring it.
Yeah. For me, like I've only ever won like one club match in my whole life. I've never won a major or anything. And I still like to go where the pool is the deepest and, play in the competition. Now, I will say, like, Dylan easily has shown me, like, some screen caps from several upcoming matches that really do have deep tack fields for sure. But I think at this point you can kind of choose your game of like which deep field do you want to play against. But, reading the tea leaves, I think in a couple of years here, we're all going to be shooting open space guns.
Yeah, maybe. Well, and even, even the episode 300 discussion has kind of made me even think about like, same thing. It might be fun to kind of jump back and forth and again, judge on where the deepest field is for each, because it definitely changes region to region of the style of shooting and everything else. So,
well, also if you have like a buddy that, again, like Scott said, that you want to compete against, like Garrett Grover and Dylan Easley are a really good example. They love to compete against each other. Also, one thing that I've noticed, I don't know if it's true because I just noticed it and I was waiting for it to suss itself out, but Dylan and Jay Carrillo generally don't shoot the same division. So I wonder if that's planned or if, it's just a coincidence the few times I've noticed it. So I would say, like, if you're on a team, like the old Cobalt Kinetics team, they split stuff up. They were in each division. It makes a lot of sense to have people in open and people in TAC and people in limited and stuff. Not shoot against your buddies because you don't want to steal a trophy, but who better to steal a trophy from than the guy you're riding home with?
Yeah, I mean, we always kind of put took that in consideration with all the teams I've been involved with and everything too, where we try to have a shooter for each division just to spread it out. But at the same time, it's fun to go head to head with your buddies.
Yeah.
So
that's why I really like the match that's coming up at our local club, the Weld County Fish and Wildlife. It's a carbine match, Scott. So it has 3 divisions, which it really only needs 2, but it has AK and AR open, right? And then there's PCC open. But AK and AR open. So it's like, hey, choose. Do you want the Russian gun or do you want the American gun? And then everything's open. Yep. I love that. It's like
free for all.
Bring one mag. It better start with a D and end with a 60 and go for it.
It's so fun too. So here's a question for you, Scott, and I think also Dave. We've talked about this before. What my opinion is on this. I'd be curious to see what other people's opinion is. What do you think is this driving momentum for open right now? What do you think is pushing this, or instigated, or catalyst this?
The availability of reliable and available open shotguns, I think, is the key turning point.
Yeah,
it's kind of hard to get around. You can't really go around that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of those things. Like, do I think? And we've talked about this before. I think it's a little bit of the association. I think the VR80 actually opened this up for so many people making a reasonably reliable, good shooting box shotgun. It allowed a lot of people that wanted to come in and really play, you know. But I equate granted, there are some VRAs out there that run really well and reliable, but I equate those to the Stoeger, like the M3000s and the M3Ks. Like, they're great for a couple seasons and you can hang with anybody, but it's not a lifetime gun. You're going to wear that gun out within a couple seasons and have to upgrade anyway.
I've been shooting mine for like 4, and it's starting to show.
Yeah, I flat wore the receivers out of my M3000. Like, and I think the VR80 is that same thing. So, but I think that is, in my opinion, that's what really opened the door. And then all the adapters and all the factory guns that you can put dots on now.
Well, I'm reading. It's funny you asked that, because I would also say that the lower cost red dots would be part of that as well. But I think Scott's right with reliable shotguns like, you know, Limcat and Dissident figured out how to do it right and make them, you know, world championship quality. And then also what you're talking about as far as like club matches of people getting into it with the VR80 and stuff like that. So I'm reading this book called The Tipping Point by Malcolm Gladwell. And like, this is the entire book in like one conversation. It's not necessarily like one thing. It's like several things just piling up. And once it reaches that critical mass, then the whole thing just flips. And now you see this migration of people.
Oh yeah, it's a great analogy.
Yeah. There you go. That's my thought.
And people just want to go fast.
Well, I think that's part of it too, right? You know, people are like, okay, well, we've done the quad load thing, you know, and people for a long time stayed in TAC because you had to be in TAC to be on 3GUN Nation Pro Series. 3GUN Nation Pro Series is not there. I mean, there's another thing.
That's, you know, one of the reasons why I actually, aside from Josh bugging me in the Shotgun World Shoot and whatnot, but yeah, the Pro Series being gone was one of the key components of me not shooting TAC anymore.
Yeah.
Well, and I think that's a valid point, because I mean, that was, I think for a lot of us, the Pro Series was that, you know, the golden cup that everybody was thriving for. And it's the same thing we talked about, like TAC always had the deepest field and it was the premier thing. So that's where I wanted to shoot. But I always looked at open going, man, that looks fun. I just want to get on the trigger and rip. And saying now where the momentum is shifting there and the gear is getting better and the shooting field is getting deeper, is just making it too tempting.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, go-karts are fun, don't get me wrong. Like, I could race go-karts all day with my buddies, but would you rather drive a go-kart for a day or rent one for a day or rent a Formula One car for a day?
Oh, I would wreck a Formula One car real quick.
Yeah, there's open. Yeah.
I hate you both. This is getting real expensive. Okay, well, I got like 2 more questions here, and then I think we're gonna wrap it in Forest, unless you have some other follow-up questions for Scott.
Not
We've
currently.
been going for about 90 minutes here, so we've had a lot of the audience this time. I want to know, just catching up with Scott here, PCC World Shoots coming up 2023, I believe, was postponed to.
Allegedly, who knows?
I Googled it, and that's what it says currently on the one side I read. So I think that's when it's going to happen, but let's just assume it happens 2023 in America of the United States. You going to shoot it?
Yep.
Yeah?
Yep, that's the only reason why I've been going to the PCC Nationals last year. I'm going this year again, because they're running that team selection based off general USPSA division rules instead of the multi-gun rules for long guns and stuff. So you got to qualify and get experience and actually perform well at those matches to get on that World Shoot team. So that's why I've been going to those, and we'll continue to do so until that match happens, when and if it finally happens.
Gotcha. Okay. And then I want to know where we're at with long-term goals. You're a super goal-oriented guy. I know that about you just from observing you and then talking to you all these years. And I know when you have something in your sights, like you go after it rabidly, I guess I would say. And
obsessively is fine. Yeah.
There we go. Obsessively. Yep. With the obsession of a young man watching his first Scarlett Johansson appearance in Marvel movies, he goes after world championships. So what's the goal right now? Or are you searching for a goal? Do you have a goal? Is it something you can fill us in on?
So it's kind of hard. I don't know if I have any specific goal at the moment because of what COVID did to the shooting community and the matches across the country, on top of what USPSA took away with the multi-gun nationals. Previously, it had been win multi-gun nationals every year was my goal for that year because that was where the most open heat was at any specific time. The guys I consider rivals would be there.
That's a good point.
They didn't have it this year, so that kind of put a stint in that plan and or a thorn in that plan. But then PCC World Shoot was supposed to happen in 2 months from now in November this year. Then it got pushed back to 22 and so on and so forth. Shotgun World Shoots keeps getting pushed back in Thailand. I think it's 2023 now as well, or whatever it may be now. So it's kind of hard to pinpoint a specific goal because most of my goals are going to be pretty ambitious. They're going to be world titles, national titles, and if there aren't any matches to go to win those titles, I'm kind of left, maintaining a level without having any specific drive to get to by a certain date. So I'm just kind of maintaining at the moment.
Do you know off the top of your head what the usual rotation is for Worlds? It's
every 3 years for every gun. Yeah. So normally it would go.
But now there's 4 guns, so that math doesn't work.
PCC is supposed to happen the same year as shotguns now.
Yeah.
Oh, it is?
So yeah.
Well, the thing I was thinking of is that, and I didn't remember what the order was, but I heard something that because pistol was pushed back 1 year, they weren't going to push all of them back. They were just going to take the year that 20. So 20. What was supposed to be in 22. Now where pistol is, that whatever 22 was supposed to be, they're just not going to do now, and there's going to be a full rotation until it comes back.
So no, I had heard that
pistol's still happening.
I had heard that quite a while ago, Forrest. I literally looked it up last night to answer one of the questions on the podcast that I did, and on USPSA and IPSC website says 2023 for PCC World Championship.
Cool.
But, as well as the handgun is supposed to be, I believe, I'm looking it up right now, so excuse me while I'm doing this.
Yeah, I think that's 22, isn't it?
2020, November, December 22 is now handgun, and then the following year will be shotgun in the same location in Thailand.
Yeah. And then 2023 is also supposed to be PCC.
And then 2022 should have been rifle again because it was 19. So then who knows, man? I mean, it's just a complete shit show out there. So I have no, like, my goals are pretty high. So like outside of those world and national matches, I don't know what I'm really doing besides going to matches to shoot and have fun. And, the same rivals I consider rivals to go find them and compete against them. I'm going to try to do well at PCC Nats this year. It's going to be tough. Max is a monster. Josh is a monster when he puts his focus on one gun. We all know that.
Yep.
And, there's a bunch of other guys. Zach Smith's a monster.
Yep. Nils.
Nils is not going to shoot PCC. But,
what? Well, yeah, so screw him then.
Yeah, I mean, Todd Jarrett's he's sitting right there. Like he may not win, that many stages or if at all, but he's right there at 90% on everything. If you mess up, he's going to take it. So, it's and then the Williams sisters are just disgusting monsters because they just destroy everybody. And they're still only 16, so a year from now, who knows if they're going to be destroying everybody in the nation. So yeah, so that's probably my main goal for this year is PCC Nats, just to do well at that. Then I got another semi-local major that's fun. It's called the Gridiron. It's a production versus single stack USPSA match. It's a bunch of shenanigans, and there's like a WWE belt. Yeah, it's fun. It's a team match and whatnot. It's pretty fun. But that's it. PCC Nats, and then have some fun with the year and try to buy some ammo before next year starts.
Yep. Yeah, especially trying to ramp up for World Shoot stuff, and it's like I can only imagine. Well,
that's my next question for Scott.
Go ahead.
So Scott, you're well known for doing a lot on a small budget, or at least you're well known to me for that. Looking for ammo for PCC World Championship run, like what do you have budgeted as far as like round count goes?
It's going to be based off availability. So again, I'm not a guy who hoards ammo or has a stockpile of ammo. If I have ammo, I'm going to shoot the ammo. That's kind of my problem, right?
Yeah, that's how I am too. I don't have a stockpile. I shoot too much of it.
Yeah. So if I have I never have more than 3,000 rounds of anything ever in my life. If I do, I've been sick or injured, haven't been shooting. So it's going to be whatever I can get my hands on for a reasonable price, and then I'll just shoot that. And then, I mean, I'll put my focus onto one gun if it's PCC. I'll just shoot that at locals, and I'll shoot a PCC only and a 3-gun locally. But I'm not going to, shoot, more than I can afford. Just going to try to use what ammo I can to get or maintain or get better with what it's not. It's hard.
It is hard.
I hate the ammo thing right now. It's really kicking my ass, and it's getting old.
It's frustrating, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, so you can only be as proficient as that allows, and as good as your training is there. And it's one of those things like same thing. You've always done a good job with becoming very proficient on a small round count. So at least you have practice there. At least you're not somebody that's used to shooting 100,000 rounds a season, and now you're like, oh, they have 3,000.
Yeah.
I have no idea what to do.
Yeah, and the reason for the question, I think, is everybody's dealing with this right now, and so there's a lot in your methodology that people can learn from, and it's also selfish because I'm not buying ammo right now either, so I got to make use of what I have. So,
yep. Well, that's the same thing too. We're talking about, like, I think this winter we're gonna have to try to figure out how to get the loader going to load up a bunch of 9 minor and 9 major and start playing around more of that.
Yep. If we can get components,
I've heard loading 9 major gets kind of sketchy, but I have no idea.
We'll see.
No, it's fine. You're fine.
There you go.
There we go.
All right. Well, Forrest, did you come up with any questions as we were going through that? We're good to go?
I'm good to go.
Right on. Well, Scott, thanks for joining us on the podcast here, man. Thanks for sharing your expertise. And your Jedi mastery of the open division, and young Padawan here, Forrest, can go on and eventually murder you somehow.
Yep. Now
that attempt to.
Yeah, Nancy Kerrigan. Just don't come. Watch when you come out of a porta potty.
I meant murder by stages, stage wins, by the way. No, and Forrest, thanks for being here, being part of the show. Appreciate you coming up with this topic for the 3-Gun Show, and always a pleasure. Great to have you on the show. Great to have your friendship, both of you, and we'll do this again. What do you think?
I think it's awesome. Thank you.
All right.
Yeah, let's do it.
Good times. Well, we got another one coming up for you. Scott, we'll tell you about the topic when we get done here, but I think you're going to like it.
Secret squirrel stuff. All right.
Secret squirrel stuff. All right. Thank you, everybody, for listening to the 3-Gun Show. This has been 3-Gun Show episode 302 that you can find at 3gunshow.com/302. See you on the range.